So we're really excited to come to you with Coach Mike Taylor. He's going to be talking about positive coaching. This is a coach that's worked all over. Is working with the Polish national team currently. Really had a good time talking before. Knows a lot about basketball. I'm really excited to listen to him. So without further ado, I'm going to pass it on. Just a quick reminder that if you have question and answers, there's a question and answer segment in the bottom. We'll try to get to as many of those as possible at the end of the segment. Thank you, Coach, for being on. I really appreciate it, and I'll get out of the way.
Thank you to you guys for creating this opportunity to share some basketball here with the International Coaches Summit. I'm really thankful to be involved. I've enjoyed listening to different coaches over the last month or so, and also presenting a few times. The topics that I've given a bunch of different topics, in different places, but the positive coaching one is something that people are very interested in. I've had lots of positive feedback and lots of interesting questions, interesting thoughts. So I really appreciate all the coaches that are taking the time to listen, and hopefully we can get you thinking and considering things, and just taking a real hard look at your coaching style, and picking up one or two things that help you with your teams. As we know, today we're going to talk about positive coaching, fun with discipline to get the most out of your team. Again, I'm a very naturally positive, optimistic person. I love basketball, like many people here, and just have kind of really studied myself and studied my style to try to put together some thoughts, to be consistent and get the most out of players and teams. And we'll focus on two teams here today: the Polish national team. I'm into my 7th year coaching there, and Hamburg Towers. So at the time, it was a first-year team. Last year, and we had some really great success to win the 2nd league in Germany and move up to Bundesliga. So we have two different teams that had the same approach, very positive coaching, the things that we'll discuss today, and we had positive results on both the national team level and a club level. And again, we talk about being at the end of the process with a lot of work put into it with Poland over 7 years, and at the beginning of the process with Hamburg. So again, we talk about these two situations, and I think it's really interesting, coaches, whether you're a high school coach, a college coach, a professional coach, I think these concepts and points, coaching points and thought of coaching style can apply everywhere. I think it's a modern type of coaching style because of let's say the type of kids that we're working with nowadays. And I think that people will respond to the positive approach and the way you handle them in a positive way more consistently. So as we dive into it, with Poland over the last 7 years, we established a really strong foundation, a strong core, coaching staff and players. And I think we had an opportunity to compete for the World Cup 2019 in China. Poland qualified for one World Cup in the history of the country. It was 1967, so 52 years before. And as a team, coaches, everyone together, we said, hey, we want to do something special together. And that special thing would be clinch a spot at the World Cup. We felt like we were a battle-tested team. We'll talk about our breakthroughs and things later in this discussion. But the whole motto for our group was do something special together. And as a coach, I wanted our players, our coaches, I wanted our people to be remembered for doing something special in their national team career. And that special thing was, hey, these are the guys that earned their way to the World Cup. On the same note, in over those last 7 years, we really, you could see the visible success. When I took over in 2014, Poland was ranked 44th in FIBA World Rank. It's now up to currently a 13th world ranking. Obviously, the biggest success we had was the top 8 finish at the World Cup in 2019. As we said, it was the 2nd World Cup in Poland history. We competed in, these other Eurobaskets, the European Championship 2015, 2017, won qualification groups going there. So there was a winning attitude, a winning environment established. As you can see, winning 60% of our games. But really the big moment for our team came in clinching the spot to get to the World Cup and then maximizing that opportunity when it was there. And this is what this is about today, to talk about some of the key points in building that team mentality and the positive coaching that really helped the players respond. Same situation on the club level with Hamburg Towers. At the time, Hamburg, an organization that was 5 years old. So relatively new organization, came in. Hamburg is a wonderful city in Germany, very good people involved in the organization, tremendous potential for a basketball city. So people wanted to try to tap into that and make the big jump into the Bundesliga. So obviously, first year as a coach coming in, it became a situation where, we wanted to really, make that jump and achieve the Aufstieg in that first season, and we were able to do it with the same type of coaching style and coaching approach, that we use with both teams. So if we really break it down, we looked into a relationship-based coaching. So, as a head coach, you build your positive relationship individually with every player on the team, valuing all of the players on the squad. It could be the go-to player, the MVP, the most important player. It could be a role player. It could be a guy who's a young player or at the end of the bench. You need to value every individual that you have, the heart of the team, the spirit of the team. Everyone contributes to it. Everyone impacts it. And I think every coach has to respect every individual they have. And again, the main point is here to try to develop a positive relationship where you can communicate through the full range of emotions, right? You're consistent enough as a coach where they know when you're happy, they know when you're upset, and you're a clear communicator. And we'll talk about later about being a truth teller and things like this, but you're really communicating and building that relationship in a positive way. So again, the heart of it all is relationships. And as we talk about relationships, this is one of the things I enjoy most about coaching, is the fact that you get to know people and help them achieve. Maybe they set goals, they have dreams, and you can really kind of help them along and share in that process with them. So relationship-based coaching, obviously, as a coach, one thing I love is living with the team. And this is just, people that love basketball live with the team. It's a situation where every single day you're involved with the players, the people, their experiences on and off the floor, and you're just enjoying that process with them. So whether it's practice, whether it's a road trip, whether it's a game situation, whether you're just kind of hanging out on some downtime, just the daily challenges and the daily experiences of life with your team. Coach Krzyzewski from Duke had a book a few years ago, A Season is a Lifetime. And this is kind of, we talk about the lifetime of a season, the personality of a team, and living with that team and sharing those experiences together. As we move forward, I think it's really important that you as a coach, let me go back one, you as a coach, celebrate your players. So again, you celebrate your team, you celebrate your guys, you're happy when they have success, you're pushing them when they need to be pushed, and you're really enjoying those moments together. I think that this is the thing that you think about. You don't remember how many points you scored in the big game. You remember the people that you achieved that victory with. You remember the people that went through all the hard work and all the whole process to get there. So this is the point. As a coach, we need to be able to celebrate our players. We need to be able to help let them know with your body language, let them know by your behavior that you support them, that you care about them, you love them, and you're going to push them. So celebrating your players, I think, is a nice part of the whole process in coaching. And one of the things I try to do with all of the players is to try to create a self-fulfilling prophecy. So in this situation, we're going to try to build a relationship. We're going to try to communicate positively, and we're going to be aware of verbal and nonverbal communication. Verbal communication is 10% what you say and 90% how you say it. So how you behave and what you do. And we're always sending off signals to each other. So as a coach, we want to model belief. We want to model confidence in our players. So again, to break it down here, you see on the screen, positive self-fulfilling prophecy. The coach believes in the player feels valued. He plays with confidence, then he has success. The player then believes in themselves, and then that reinforces the original belief. Now, the problem becomes a lot of coaches get involved with the negative vicious circle. The coach shows he does not believe in the player can feel that. They begin to play without confidence. Playing without confidence leads to less success, and then the player begins to doubt themselves, and then it becomes it's circle. So, again, we try to put this on a positive way and show confidence in the players and believe in the players and help push the players and giving them that realistic belief in themselves to try to create that self-fulfilling prophecy. Again, it's not always consistent. Sometimes you're here, sometimes you're there. So it's always it's a work in progress. But again, we always try to put that positive emphasis on things. One of the best ways to build relationships is through player development. You know, players, you're in practice, you're doing individual work, workouts, whatever, sweating with the players, spending time with the players. You're showing these guys, these girls, you care about them. So I think this is a great way to build relationships, a great way to model your support and confidence and belief, and really, help the player improve along in the process. Now, one thing we want to add here to this conversation is the roller coaster of results. So again, the main thing is to focus on the process every day, living with the team. Focus on the process of what you believe is going to help you be successful. Avoid getting too high after a win or too low after a loss. The main point is to stay consistent. Quality results come from a quality process. Let the fans be the ones who are on this roller coaster of results. You win the game, you're the best thing ever. You're the best player ever. You're the best coach ever. Then guys get satisfied and comfortable, and the performance goes down, right? The challenge to stay hungry, stay motivated, stay focused. But then the same thing the other way. You lose the game, you're a bum as a player. You're a bum as a coach. Get these guys out of here. So the main point is let fans be all about the results. Players stay focused on that consistent process, that consistent work. Get off that roller coaster of results and stay on the process. The people that you love to be around are the ones that enjoy the process. They love to be in the gym. They love to be there every single day, having fun, working on their game, being a great part of the team, enjoying the process. And I think as a coach, this is one thing that I really try to emphasize with our teams is to really enjoy the process every single day. Enjoy coming to the gym. Enjoy the work. And again, if you're having fun, it's not hard work. And the people that have that mentality, have that idea, these are the keepers. These are the ones that you want to keep around your team and build with. So we go to the next level of relationship-based coaching. The first one we have is the relationship, the head coach, the player. And now we have the teammate connection. It's really important that a team is connected. And as a coach, you're always trying to work that individual relationship, and then you're trying to see that team connection. And there's little things you can do to try to build it on a daily basis or build it on throughout the season. But it's really important you're always aware of how guys are interacting, how the team's interacting. So I think the relationship-based coaching is not only the individual part, but it's also this teammate connection and this player-to-player connection. So as we move on, we talk about internal versus external thinking. And what we try to emphasize with our team is, the external thinking, team first. And this is kind of what we want guys to be thinking about. If it's internal thinking, it's I, me, self-centered thoughts. I didn't get enough shots. I didn't play enough. I stopped my guy, but they scored on us. Again, it's my shot, not our shot. So we try to emphasize the external thinking of us, of we, making it other-centered and team-centered. Again, the quote here at the bottom, we've got several quotes throughout the presentation. Sometimes a player's greatest challenge is coming to grips with his role on the team. Again, you're always putting the team first. You're accepting your situation, and you're trying to be the best within it, right? But you're thinking about the group. So you're other-centered and external thinking. As we move on, a concept that I really talk a lot about with our guys is synergy. So again, 1 + 1 is not 2, 1 + 1 is 10, with the concept of making your teammates better in whatever it takes, whether it's making the extra pass, whether it's setting a hard screen, whether it's being active, rotating to help, getting that extra work in the gym. The mark of a great basketball player is the ability to make your teammates better. Magic Johnson. Not, hey, it's how well you shoot the ball, how well you pass the ball, how high you jump. Are you able to make your teammates better? If you think externally about the team, put the team first, and then think about making your teammates better, then our team has a real chance to be connected, and then we can reach our potential. So again, another great quote from Phil Jackson: good teams become great ones when the members trust each other enough to surrender the me for the we. Again, people have seen the quote, but again, a meaningful thing here. Shaq and Kobe obviously had their battles at times, but they came together to win championships. And that's the point, putting everything team first, put other things aside and really focus on being the best team that they can be. Again, in terms of protecting your house, eliminating distractions before those distractions eliminate you. And again, protect your basketball family. get your own house in order, policing yourself in terms of the connection to the players, the connection to the team. So what we establish are the individual relationships with the coaches, and then the common relationships, the connection among the team. We'll see how we put that into action a little bit later. So as we look at the two parts, the first part is the head coach relationship with the players individually. The second part is the connection among players. And the third part is minimum standards. Now, we talk about minimum standards as the baseline to keep everything in order. Most of my coaching and coaching style and philosophy is focused on maximizing things. But it's important to help guys understand what the minimums are so they can operate and know, okay, this is the baseline that's acceptable for the coach, for the team, for the situation, and I can try to build up from there, right? So what we see here, these minimum standards kind of keep everything together. Now, 3 expectations to kind of give us an idea about minimum standards. To the players every single year: work hard, be coachable, and be a good teammate. Just broad 3 expectations. They're expected to work hard every single day, bring your maximum effort, be coachable every day, apply the coaching that, pick it up, apply what was being told to you, and then be a good teammate. If you can do those 3 things, you're going to be successful in the minimum standards at the beginning. But as I think about minimum standards, it's more and more about respect. So on the court, off the court, in general, if you do something to someone or a situation arises, if you are respectful towards your team, towards your teammate, towards your season and situation, towards the game, then you will be most likely working in a positive way with a minimum standards. The same situation. If you're doing something disrespectful to your teammate, disrespectful to the game, disrespectful to the team, then I think you are automatically taking a step outside the minimum standards of what's good for the team. So I think the more and more you look at minimum standards, the more and more it's associated with respect. So things we try to talk about with players: respect each other, number 1. You have to respect each other to be a successful team. Respect the game. Again, the game is great. We love the game. Respect the game. Give what you get what you give. This is the type of mentality. Respect the opportunity that you have, right? And there's a lot of guys that would really want to be in that player's place, whether it's high school, college, professional, national team. Respect the opportunity and where you are. The golden rule, again, same thing: on the floor, off the floor, treat others as you would like them to treat you. Listen with your eyes and ears, and again, look people in the eyes when you talk. Even with professional players, these points of respect are really, really important and can go a long way. So then we talk about the expectations. And as we look at expectations, expectations impact things in different ways. You can recruit and build a team for expectations. I'm recruiting this player to be the starter. I'm recruiting this player to be the backup. These are the expectations, right? Every team has expectations at the beginning of the season. Our team goals are so-and-so. We want to make the playoffs. We want to compete for a championship. We want to stay in the league. It's important that everybody is clear on the same page about expectations, but it's the same thing about coming into practice every day, right? We want to understand the minimum standards and the expectations of what we want players to bring every single day as we try to take steps forward. We always want to move forward. We always want to improve. We always want to get better every single day. So players have to understand what those expectations are. We'll talk about some of these points as we go later. We'll show you the standards of excellence that we talk about with our team at the beginning of the season. So again, we talk coaching staff. Coaching staff is not included in the 3 diagrams with the relationship-based coaching, the connection to the teammates, and then the minimum standards. But your coaching staff is critical because as coaches, we can't do it all. You've got to be able to delegate. You've got to have guys that you trust. You've got to have guys that have the ability to put your system and put your actions into place. Coaches, assistant coaches in particular, are fantastic opportunities to build relationships with players. You can have a great connection with this assistant coach and this player, and you can build that. I think it's really important that you use your coaching staff and you use your assistant coaches and really trust them and try to get the most out of them. So the coaching staff go a very long way in terms of building that culture and keeping your system functioning at a high level. One thing that I like to do with coaches is work with people that you enjoy being around. Here the assistant coaches in Hamburg, Austin Rowland on the left, Benka Barlowski on the right. I love to work with these guys, enjoy talking basketball with these guys. So whether it's the coaches in Hamburg, whether it's the coaches in Poland, you try to surround yourself with people who you enjoy being around. Again, enjoy the process, have fun every single day, living with the team, the experience. And I think a long way goes, it can go a long way when you surround yourself with people that have a similar approach and you really enjoy being around them. So now we get into the base points of the fun with discipline. So if I had to characterize my coaching style, I would use the terminology fun with discipline. We just saw the relationship-based coaching aspect, the structure, but fun with discipline and characteristics of it would be positive, patient, and players first. So as we move forward here, fun with discipline. If we think about a continuum, all right, the main point is we want to read the team. We want to create a positive team-first environment where the players can be themselves and have fun and enjoy it. But as a coach, we're reading it all the time. If there's too much fun, the coach cracks the whip and adds some discipline. If there's too much pressure, the coach adds a little fun. Again, reverse psychology, the whole mentality here, right? So it's important you're constantly reading the team, constantly getting information and seeing where you're at relationship-wise, connection-wise, and reading it, and then, you know, handling the situation as necessary. As we move forward, patient and positive coaching. Again, players first, player-coach relationship and patient coaching. You know, the process is a sprint. It's not a sprint, it's a marathon. And we want to support the players through their experiences, give them a consistent direction. When we talk about positive coaching, again, positive coaching, positive communication, trying to create that self-fulfilling prophecy. Again, coach the what and the why, respect the players and coaches, allow them to give input, what they like, you know, how they want to manage their situation, give them some choices where they can have some control, provide productive feedback and avoid controlling behaviors. Now, at this point, we talk about positive coaching. Some players will ask, coach, when does the positivity end, right? And I think that when we talk about this, you know, fun with discipline, if we move back, when we talk about trying to stay on this side of the fun side over here, right, and having guys enjoy the process, right, when does positivity end? And I think this goes back to your minimum standards, right? If you're outside the minimum standards, we like to say the 3-strike mentality, communicate first, right? Remind them second, and then the third time, bam, really crack the whip. So I think that you give guys a chance to, or girls a chance to make the adjustment themselves. You communicate with them. You know, if they're aware, alert, mature, they're going to make that adjustment, right? But then you also have that communication. Okay, bam, third time we've talked about this, we're going to, you know, crack the whip and do what we need to do. So as we move forward again, past the patient and positive coaching, we move on to the main point here, patience. Coaching is teaching. We've got to coach the what and the why. Again, we want to create that confidence and self-belief, the positive self-fulfilling prophecy we talked about, build the players up with confidence. Confidence comes from success. Prepare for it, expect it, do it, reinforce it, and then keep as a coach working to put players in positions to be successful, right? Communication can be positive or negative, right? The history as coaches, we do what we know, right? We coach how we have been coached. And I think this is important. If you want to be positive, if you want to try to be more positive, you have to be thinking about it and really aware of how you're handling yourself in a situation. The mentality, again, you can be positive to support the players, put them in a position to be successful, or the old school, you know, when I first got to Europe in 2001, there was many of the coach against the player mentality, try to rally the troops against something, the head coach, for example. Again, I love Bob Knight. My dad was an assistant for Coach Knight at Army. You know, and his point was he wanted to never let people relax or get comfortable. So he was more on the other side, right? More on the discipline side. He felt like human nature was people get satisfied easily. So we've got to be really on people and stay on them so that they can be at their best, right? Verbal and nonverbal communication, we talked about the importance of that, what you say, how you say, what you do, how you do it. Again, try to be as honest and direct as you can be a truth teller, right? We don't want people to be unrealistic. We have to tell them truthful information to help them maximize themselves. And then, especially for today's generation, today's kids, understanding the difference between coaching and criticism. When I played in high school and college, the point was coaches would yell and you'd say to yourself like, okay, it's no problem. I understand what he's saying to me. I'm not listening to the yell. I'm listening to the coaching points that he's giving me. So this is the point. Today's kids will automatically, well, let's say automatically, will likely shut down as soon as you start getting aggressive and start yelling at them, right? So the point is, you know, have the patience, help them understand the difference between coaching and criticism, but be aware of how you're delivering messages, how you deliver things to people to make them open to receive it. It's not criticism, it's coaching. We're trying to help you get better at this specific skill, right? We're not criticizing you personally. And I think that's important, that we understand the difference of generations of communication in the past and what can be more successful with today's players. Again, as a coach, it's important to be who you are. Know yourself and what your game is. Know yourself as a person, and know yourself as a coach. Be who you are. The relationship-based aspect, again, something I really love and something I really try to emphasize. Players need to be mature because you're trusting them about how they're going to come in and handle their business every single day, right? So build that trust with them. Give them opportunity to make the right decision. Give them the feedback. Hey, you did this well. You need to do this better, differently. Think about this. And then the players have to allow you to coach them. So this is where the relationship comes in. If you have a great relationship with players, they will allow you to coach them. And then you have the full range of communication, the full range of emotion. Then you're honest, genuine yourself, and you can push all those buttons. But understanding and managing people, I think this is a critical part of leading a team. We talked about Coach Knight. Again, The Power of Negativity, his book that came out a few years ago. Never let people get comfortable. Fight human nature to be satisfied. Again, we're more on the positive side in terms of fun with discipline. But again, the whole point that's so fantastic about Coach Knight, everyone wants to win, but not everyone is willing to prepare to win. Again, winning has a cost. Winning has a price. You've got to prepare. And when you do prepare well, you can trust and believe in it. And we'll talk about that a little bit later. So again, great, fantastic Hall of Fame coach, one of the best ever, a little bit different approach, more focused on the negativity to try to help keep people on the edge and stay hungry. Again, with the Polish national team, with Hamburg, we try to define concentration, focus, what it means to be physical, energy, intensity, discipline, maturity. And again, at the bottom here, again, Coach Knight, discipline is doing what has to be done, when it has to be done, as well as it can be done, and doing it that way all the time, right? That consistency. So again, as you start to define these terms, you start to help the players understand, you know, when you're talking about, hey, let's be focused, let's be concentrated, bring your energy, be an energy giver, not an energy taker. So it's important that you spend time with your team and help them really understand. And notice here the maturity part of fun with discipline. Again, you know, you're trusting players to manage themselves and respond in a mature way. So again, this goes a big part of coaching style where you're trusting players to have fun. Again, at one point we want to make discipline is not a bad thing. We've got to understand the difference between punishment and discipline. Punishment is what you do to someone. Discipline is what you do for someone. So again, as a coach, you want to continually emphasize the positive, continually help people to enjoy the process and have fun. But that doesn't mean you're not going to crack the whip, because I think cracking the whip sometimes is going to help people, right? You're going to help keep them moving in the right direction. They're going to get the experience like, okay, I'm not doing the right thing now. I need to move in this direction. I need to do something a little different. So again, we have to understand that discipline is a positive thing for people, and it should be looked at as a positive term, okay? So this is important to make clear. Some of the things we like to do for our teams to create that team identity. Again, in Hamburg, we had a mustache game. All the players and coaches had to have a mustache for the game. If you had a beard or a mustache, then it had to be different. Just to make sure if anybody has any ideas and would like to try the mustache game. We had a big win in the mustache game, and it was a lot of fun for the guys. Obviously, great pictures and all kinds of great stuff. So that was a really, really positive thing for team building. With birthdays, we like to smash a pie in the guy's face, and this is just for fun. And I think, again, when you look at the greatest teams, the best teams, you know, they have fun together. And I think you'll see some funny things coming from the best teams. And I think that's just a function of people really enjoy each other, really have fun together. So this is something that we've done, you know, at many of my coaching stops. And, you know, players have fun with it, right? The best part is really when people know it's coming, and then you have to try to find a way to get them when they know it's coming. So pie in the face is one of the all-time classics. The other thing that we did in my own times, we had the last practice of the year was old school day. And people could come to practice and dress up and, you know, put on some funny stuff, and we had really a lot of fun together. So these are some ideas with your team to think about, just to try to keep the team having fun together and enjoying it, and kind of keeping it, you know, you never know what's going to happen when you come to the gym. So we move on to creating the team identity. And I think the main point here that we try to emphasize is trust, team first together. We're going to show you the personal commitment that we have everybody sign with different teams. We'll show you some core beliefs. We'll show you the standards of excellence. And then we talk about creating a basketball culture with the mindset that hard work beats talent. And when talent fails to work hard, you're not always going to have the most talented team, but you can really work to maximize your team and try to get the most out of your team and have that team really be hungry and ready and focused to be at their best. And this is kind of some of the points that we want to try to explain over the next few minutes. So the first point we'll talk about is personal commitment. This is something I got during my time around the Celtics. Jay Larinaga, top assistant for Brad Stevens. He was the first guy that I saw doing this. So everybody talks about being committed to your team and committed to the team goals, and we just make it a physical act of signing and making a commitment. So this is for Eurobasket 2017 from the Polish national team, but you can script it for your team in any way you would like. You know, whatever. We had it for Hamburg differently than Poland. But the point is, every team you're trying to sign a paper that you're going to really maximize your potential. And this might be something to screenshot for coaches to take a look at. I'm happy to share it, but this should be something that comes from you. This should be something that you're trying to know your team's goals, know what you're about, what you emphasize, and try to write your own personal commitment. And just all the players, all the, the coaches sign it. Everyone involved with your team, sign it, keep it, and keep it on hand. So just the physical act of making that personal commitment, something that I really enjoy with our guys. So when people watch teams play, whether it's Poland or Hamburg, what are the core values? We hope that they will say, hey, this is what this team is about just by watching us play. So we want the team to be team first. That means you're sacrificing, you're bringing positive energy. Guys are accepting their roles for each other. The team's together, again, the whole emphasis of making your teammates better. People are patient and really together through ups and downs. They're tough, they're physical, they're competitive, they're resilient, they're not going to back down. They give tremendous multiple efforts, and they're intelligent. They're focused, they're efficient, they play to their strengths. So again, you see, we try to have the same for both Hamburg and Poland, the same core values that we try to emphasize. And we talked earlier in the part that we talked about minimum standards. Now we're talking about standards of excellence. So, Doc Rivers put together a standard of excellence for his Celtics team that won the championship with, KG and Pierce and Rondo and these guys. So, this is something that's molded after that. That was the example here. And basically we use it for all our teams, try to create standards of excellence to the players to live up to, talking about teamwork, professionalism, no personal agendas, professional respect and communication. Think of the now only. There's one way, there it was the Celtic way. Now it's the Polish way. It could be the Hamburg way. Be efficient, be a team of execution, never have a bad practice, be responsible, trust, and make no excuses. And again, you can shape it any way you want. Maybe there's something you want to add. Maybe there's something you think is more important or you want to have fewer. But this is kind of modeled after that. And it's kind of helped our team have that mindset to always, be their best every single day. That we talk about. Again, another quote, we are what we repeatedly do. Excellence then is not an act, but a habit, from, Aristotle. So this is something that you try to, again, do little things to try to keep the team focused on being the best they can be and striving for excellence. A winning team, we talk about establishing a team identity, create winning habits in practice, be efficient and balanced, simplify the game, make it easy. Always believe in itself, stay positive, handle success and setbacks productively, make no excuses. And we see here, great quote from Pat Riley, great effort springs naturally from a great attitude. And I think these are some points that you think about as you try to shape your team into a winning team. Again, 10 key points for our team building process. Everyone will have different ones, but these are the things that are important to us. Establish clear roles and structure built on respect and sacrifice for the team and the team goals. Create a positive team chemistry. Again, guys enjoying coming to the gym, positive with that connection. Build relationships. We talked about that earlier. Create positive learning environment, coaching the details of what and why. You want players to leave your team more intelligent and reading the game better and with a higher IQ because they spent time working with you, right? Be responsible and accountable, right? Establish that work ethic, fun with discipline, enjoy the process. But the important thing is that people work daily on player development with skills and video, helping players learn and improve. Implement new system, style of play. Again, find ways to put players in position to be successful. Be prepared for every opponent, but focus on our own performance. Again, how much time as a coach are you spending on your opponent? 100? Then you're not really focusing on yourself at all. We try to be 70-30, 70% focused on our team, our system, our players, and then 30% on what our opponents are doing. Again, be the team first and together at all times. Building a mentality, again, we start to get into the fun parts of the conversation here. Team first mentality, win. What's important now? Win the game one play at a time. Have a next play mentality. Again, be the best team. We'll talk here about the championship characteristics that we look for. As we build a team, you know, in the off season, as you're recruiting, maybe you can't recruit in high school, whatever the circumstances are, have a defensive identity, work hard to build it, be physical, own the paint defensively especially. Okay, not everyone has star players, but try to develop those go-to guys for you, those go-to half-court scorers. And then it's important to fill your team with shooting and defending role players. They can always help your team on either end of the floor. As we move forward, we talk about teamwork. Everyone, every play, every day. Everybody's got to buy in. Everybody's got to be together. Be the best. The best teams play for each other, not with each other. A great quote from Jeff Van Gundy. Again, these are some things that we try to really emphasize with our guys. The next play mentality, win the game one play at a time, win the next play versus the last play. Again, basketball is a game. We've got to compete. We've got to be ready for what happens in front of us. We can't be worried about a missed shot, a turnover, a mistake, a bad play, an opposing team's great play. You know, you can't worry about that stuff. It's behind you. Get rid of it. Focus on the next play and be ready to compete immediately. Again, the law of the jungle, the strength of the wolf is in the pack. The strength of the pack is in the wolf. Great team quote for everyone. And now we talk about bringing this stuff together so we get into a competitive mindset. So the big thing that I try to emphasize with players is be the best version of yourself. So every single day, you're trying to show up and be the best version of yourself. Now, that's hard to do. It's not easy to show up and be the best. You know, you're going to go back and reflect and evaluate yourself. Oh, I wish I would have handled this situation differently. I wish I would have handled this situation better. But again, you can really strive to be the best version of yourself every single day, be present, and try to take ownership. Then with the team, be the best team. If we're all trying to be the best version of ourselves and we're all trying to be connected and be the best team, then we have a chance to be the best when it matters the most. And this is obviously your playoff time, your championship game, your important moments in the season. Again, if you have that possibility where you got everyone individually trying to be their best, and then we're trying to be the best team, and then that big moment comes, you have the opportunity to be ready, and that synergy pushes it forward. The next point, pressure comes when you're not prepared. When you're prepared, you have opportunity. Trust your hard work. Trust your opportunity. This is just a way to prepare the team in the beginning mentally. They're ready for that challenge. They're ready for that opportunity. And again, that's how they don't think about pressure. The little trick in their head, they're thinking only about the opportunity to achieve, thinking positively. And again, we say play positive. Now you see pictures here, guys coming off the court after a win with smiles on their face. Playing positive it's great when you love the game and you're happy, but it's not necessarily about smiling while you're playing. Playing positive is we all have so much energy. We all have so much that we can bring. The main point is we don't stop ourselves being negative. We don't stop ourselves thinking about, let's say, you know, mistakes or coach yelling at us or whatever the circumstances happen. We use our energy positively. We focus that next play. We're completely locked in and ready to compete. Team toughness also, again, we've got to be tough. We've got to be together. We've got to be ready to compete. And again, you know that team toughness, the physicality factor, this is important. But not only physicality factor, but the emotional toughness as well. This is something that we'll talk about as we move to breaking through. So we say breaking through, the sum of our collective experiences. When you as a team go through you know, a game and you have a loss and you're disappointed and you know you have that failure, again, I think every situation you go through, if you use it right, then you're able to dig to a deeper level, right? That emotional investment, that team toughness, you're able to respond. And what happened with us in Poland, you know, in Eurobasket 2015, we went to play in Montpellier, France. Again, we were new kids on the block. Here's, you know, Tony Parker, Rudy Gobert, Boris Diaw. Again, we competed. It came down. We were down 66-63. We had a last-second three-point opportunity. We didn't execute our play. Marcin Gortat shot a corner three. It wasn't the shot we wanted, but because we didn't execute, that's what we got. We lost. It was a close game. but we took the experiences. Then in 2017, we went to Finland and we were up by 9 points with 90 seconds to play. We had to close it out. We made several mistakes during regulation. We let them come back. We turned the ball over. We fouled a three-point shooter. We had a lot of situations that, obviously you don't execute the way you want to execute. Lauri Markkanen stole it, went in for a dunk, tied the game. We had a last-second chance. We didn't score, and we lost in double overtime. So this was a really painful situation. But again, these two experiences allowed us to develop that emotional investment and team toughness to dig deeper. And this year, when it mattered in China, we played China in the second game of the first round. Critical game. They were doing everything they could to win. We looked bad for us at times. Mateusz Panika made a great steal, made one of two free throws to send it to overtime. Damian Cooley made a driving layup to give us the win. But it was just really, you could see our team was tough and battle tested, and you could see that breakthrough from the sum of the collected experiences that we had. Same thing happened in one season with the Towers. Again, in Hamburg, Chemnitz was ahead of us. We had high expectations on our team to try to move up. They played better than us in the regular season. In the playoffs, it just so happened that we would meet in the semifinals, and it came down to a series that went to Game 5. And we had lost in Chemnitz 3 times in the regular season. We lost, or 3 times to that point in the season. Once in the regular season, twice in the playoffs, and we lost at home in the regular season. And then we went into the Game 5, and the team really stepped up, and we were able to win it and win the championship in the next round and move on to the Bundesliga. So again, the same mentality of be the best when it matters the most, thriving on, be the best version of yourself and be the best team every single day, kind of got our guys to that point mentally to compete. Again, winning on the biggest stages as we move forward, beating the best teams, be mentally ready, physically prepared, be your and our best. The fundamental skills of the game, focus on the basics, passing, catching, dribbling, and finishing your shots. Details and team execution. Whatever your game plan is, really work hard to execute it, play a clean game, and then be the better team. One of the easiest ways to be a better team is to communicate with huddles. You can really see teams that are connected and together and focused, and they're really huddling. It's something we really emphasize, trying to help our guys be together, to communicate, be on the same page. 5 is 1, something I try to emphasize. 5 players working as one, most of the time through good communication in the huddles. Now we move to motivation. Again, when you build these relationships, you're trying to maximize the potential of each person, each team, each other team. The motivation allows you to push the buttons, right? So we talk about quotes or stories or meaningful information for each guy, each player. But what I love is finding the right words. My time around Doc Rivers, watching him, I think that he's fantastic at finding the right words and motivating guys. Great leader. But for me, I've done a really good job in the last few years with these pep talks in Poland. And again, 45 minutes before the last meeting before the game, it's all motivation for me. It's nothing X's and O's. But again, the motivation, these pep talks is like the tip of the iceberg. The real heart of it, the root of it, is the relationship that you have with the guys. This allows you to read the team well and find the right words at the right time to bring the most out of the team. And again, so you can talk about your message being high intensity, low intensity. You can try to work on that physical, mental, emotional, but you're trying to create an edge for the team. And this is something that when you really get it right, it's a great feeling, and it's something special for everybody. When you talk about motivation, we talk about intrinsic from within, extrinsic from without. You see the positive extrinsic from outside, negative extrinsic from outside, intrinsic, positive or negative from within. We'll talk about on the next one some examples here. So we say, again, positive motivation, positive feedback, a reward. Negative word, criticism, fear, or punishment would be negative. And again, what we're aiming for is this positive intrinsic motivation that comes from within. The players are so invested, they love it so much that they're going to be the ones that want to do it. And I think if you can build your players up to this point from a relationship, just unlocking them, letting them go, then that's really something special. The more players you get to that point, the really greater chance you have for success. So as we move forward here, again, the will. Champions are not made in the gym. Champions are made from something special they have deep inside them, a desire, a dream, a vision. They have the skill and the will, but the will has to be stronger than the skill. You can have the most talented player in the world, but if he doesn't love it, if he doesn't want it, he's not going to really reach that potential. And for all of us, the goal should be maximizing our potential, being the best we can be. And if we're the best we can be, that's enough. That's great, you know? So this is the point. I think if everybody's focused on maximizing their potential, being their best, this is where great things happen. So along the way, we talk about setting goals. What we talk about: dream goals, long-term goals, short-term goals, practice goals, game goals, and goals within the game. So let's say defensively, these are our Hamburg Towers and Poland game goals. You know, we try to hold the team under 42% from the field, less than 20 free throw attempts, defend without fouling, less than 33%, we're guarding the three-point line, try to limit their fast break opportunities. Defensive rebounding, try to grab 74%. Defensive deflections, again, hard number to reach, but 25. Momentum plays, like charges or block shots, we try to have 8. Shot clock violations included in that, right? So goals within a game, let's say in a timeout, you say to your guys or maybe one of your assistant coaches, hey, 3 stops in a row, right? We want to cut the deficit, you know, to under 10 by the 5-minute mark. And then personal goals for players, you know, player development in practice. Hey, we want you to use your left hand more, right? We want you to shoot off the dribble today. Try to put it on the floor, attack the basket. Decision-making and habits, trying to help guys through these plays. Now, leadership is the next thing. Again, what I love to do with a team, you create this structure, you create this environment, and you turn it over to the team. This is the ultimate goal for me. On bad teams, no one leads. There's no leadership. Everybody's apart. There's no connection. There's nobody together. On good teams, coaches lead. Oh, I can buy into what the coach is saying. I'm going to listen to the coach because I trust what he's doing. I trust the system. On great teams, the players lead. The players police themselves. The players motivate. The players push. This is when your team has a chance to be great. So this is what we try to improve the leadership. Now, when we talk about leadership, just at the beginning of the season, we give each guy leadership tips. And this is just little ways. This might, again, be a quick screenshot. We won't go through them all. But the main point here is little ways you can visibly or physically actively impact the team in a positive way. Be the hardest worker in practice. Be a spark of energy and enthusiasm. Model mental toughness. On and on down the way. This gives people, okay, a checklist. I want to try to help the team. I want to try to make my teammates better. How do I do it? Let me look at these leadership tips. Let me try to, you know, put them into action, right? So again, we're trying to build up our team and keep everybody moving in the same direction. Individual performance. Again, Bill Belichick, we talk about some great quotes here. There is no I in team, but there's an I in win, and it stands for individual performance. Your best players can help you win the game. And when they're locked in and when they're at their best, that individual performance, they can be the difference maker. Especially if you got your best players maximizing themselves. Be the best version of yourself. And then be the best team, right? All this stuff together. Be the best when it matters the most. Get your best players to have a great individual performance. Some of these guys are special. They can raise their game and impact the game. With Poland, Mateusz Panika, this is it. This is who he is. He's a clutch player, and he showed it in China. So again, that's important for everybody to understand. Individual steps to team success. Again, protect our team. Take care of and look out for your teammates, right? Make sure, eliminate the negative stuff. Keep the positive things. Again, no clicks. Nothing. Again, you're just trying to keep everything in your basketball family as positive and healthy, protecting the team as possible. We talked about earlier protecting our house. Sharpen your edge. Have a vision of what team excellence is and individual excellence, and work with a passion every single day. Enthusiasm to get there. Stay hungry, play hungry. Compete with all you have. Again, competing. You got to love to compete. Love that challenge. You know, rise up every single opportunity. Compete with that intensity and toughness. Again, we want Poland or Hamburg plays harder than our opponents. Bring that intensity and physicality. We want to impose our will, our style over our opponents. And remember, the aggressive team always wins, right? And then finish with focus. You talk about finishing. We talk about some of the quotes that we talked about earlier. So those are some of the things we try to help our players bring to the floor. When you talk about a pro, right? Players are not as important as players, and players are not as important as teammates. The late Don Meyer, fantastic coach, great quote. We want a pro to be prepared, coachable, consistent, honest, and respectful. These are the things we want our guys to demonstrate every single day when they show up. Consistency in your attitude and energy and effort. We want you to be consistent every single day. Avoid that emotional roller coaster. We saw it before, the roller coaster of results. Don't get too high after a win or too low after a loss. The best way to focus on your process and be consistent is to create routines for yourself. And again, the goal, be the best version of yourself. Be the best version of yourself. Allow players and coaches space to be who they are. We try to tell everybody, be who you are. You're at your best when you're who you are. But as you being who you are, try to maximize yourself and be the best version of yourself. Empower people to be the best versions of themselves to maximize their potential. And again, you get everybody locked in like this, you have a great chance for your team to get connected and move forward. Now, there's 4 types of players that we talk about in terms of attitude and talent. You can have the guys that we love are positive attitude and positive talent, and this is what you're trying to build up with your team. Again, you're not going to really deal with negative attitude and negative talent. A bad attitude that can't play, he's out, right? And here we go, positive attitude, negative talent, or negative attitude, positive talent. Those guys are the challenges. I see we may be getting a 10-minute warning.
Yes, sir. 10 minutes. Yes, sir.
Okay. I'll try to speed it up a little bit here. So we talk about dealing with problems and team and problem players. You always got to think about what's best for the team, always be productive and move forward. You can't save everyone. Again, my time coaching the Red Claws in the D-League, players are there for a reason, great talent, but it's a lot of psychology. Some players will try to sabotage themselves in the team. If you can spot a specific problem, maybe you can get some help. Sometimes guys are really entitled and they have to really check themselves and go through those tough experiences if they're going to make it. And one thing, the negative external, the fine list helps with discipline and keeping things going. Player self-perception quickly. The players are either positive or negative about themselves, and whatever it is, they're right. If you believe in yourself, yes. If you don't believe in yourself, you are creating that self-fulfilling prophecy for yourself. So try to help guys believe in themselves. Again, we want people to be realistic, so we want to be truth tellers. We want to help them to be accurate. We all overestimate ourselves a little bit, but again, it's most of the time it's too high. Again, working with young talent, identify clear roles, set realistic performance expectations, provide consistent opportunity to play. You got to live with their good and bad games. Be patient, give them positive coaching. Again, skill work and video for development and a step-by-step increase in responsibility. We're getting towards the end here. Preparation and readiness. We talk about how to prepare physically, be emotionally ready. We try to build the team up for the game, build the players up for the game. Again, creating routines. These routines build habits. Environmental comfort. This is where the consistency comes from. We want players to be comfortable from these routines they create, and we want them to really enjoy the process. As we move forward, these are the types of game preparations we emphasize. Team preparation, team defense, team offense, how the players fit into the game plan. Individual preparation, your individual matchup, understanding how you operate within the system. Physical preparation, strength, conditioning, agility, all the physical aspects of basketball. Mental preparation, individual players, focus, concentration, and emotional. Again, try to build that energy up. You see here Dominik Norojchuk. He's fantastic strength and conditioning coach for our Polish national team. Does such a great job with our guys. As we move forward, again, we talk conditioning coaches play a major role in your team, building that environment and creating that team spirit. Melvin Vierdu in Hamburg, Dominik Norojchuk in Poland, really, really important parts of our coaching staff. Again, every day we want to work with a purpose. We always want to work to improve. You're either getting better or getting worse. No one ever stays the same. Important players understand that so that they stay focused. And again, the last slide here before questions and answer, there's no substitute for hard work. Again, one of my favorite pictures, Larry Bird in the empty gym, old Boston Garden, just getting shots up, working on his game. So with that, I'm open to any questions that we may have. Take a look here. What do you think? You want to just pick a couple out? How about that?
Coach. Yeah, yes, sir. I'll have a couple for you. So he was talking about the breaking the negative circles. He was asking how in particular are some examples that you would do that, and particularly the negative ones was what was asked.
Well, I think that the first thing is that you're trying to build your relationship with the player, and you have to understand where's the negativity come from. Is it coming from the coach or is it coming from the player, right? Or is there an outside influence? For me, number one, when we look at the situation, I need to communicate positively. I need to communicate in a way, verbally and non-verbally, that I believe in this player. I believe that they're good enough, they can handle it. And I think that the point is, if I know I'm coming at it from a positive standpoint and I'm really looking at myself and my behavior communication, then okay, are they in a place where they're not buying into the system, they're not buying into the coaching, or are they in a situation where they don't have the self-confidence to believe in it, right? So I think you have to kind of look at it from that standpoint and say to yourself, like, all right, if they're not buying in, then we're going to have talk about you're not within our team structure in a situation like this. If they don't believe in themselves, then you're going to give them positive feedback and try to put them in positions to achieve small success. And then they can step by step gain that self-confidence. And then, hey, coach believes in me. But I think we have to look, is the negativity coming from me as the coach, or is it coming from the player outside source? And what's the reason for it, right? And when you identify those things, then I think you can kind of get a plan of attack to try to help the individual player.
That's an awesome answer, Coach. And then if you have a player who is working hard and doing all the right things, but the improvement isn't as quick as he would like, how do you keep him encouraged?
So again, this goes back to the point that you have to value everyone on your team. And, I think the point is, you want to model to your team, the right behaviors and that you value the right things. Now, does that mean you play? All the players want to play, right? The best feedback is opportunity to play minutes in the game. But if you have a player that's not quite good enough, right, you have to try to help him in practice. You have to try to help him by giving him a small role in the game, a small opportunity in the game. But I think at the same time, you've got to be a truth teller and tell the player, hey, look, you're doing all the right things attitude-wise. You're doing all the right things team-wise, but you just got to make some steps here with your game in this area. Let's get to work. Let's get on the court. Let's try to help you. Let's try to improve it. But I think the important thing is that as a coach, you're always valuing the players who may not be playing as much, but are doing the right thing for your team and with their attitude and effort.
Yeah, that's another great question. This is a really good question that you've talked about your importance of team and togetherness. And what do you do as far as do you treat the star player the exact same or same, not necessarily fair, as treating each person how they're supposed to be? How do you address that with how you treat the star player as opposed to maybe a role player?
Well, I think the big thing is the way I work, I'm working with a relationship with every individual player. So I want to try to make sure every individual player feels that I like him, I know him, I value him, right? So whether it's a player who's not playing a lot or the star player, there's a personal relationship there. We value the team first. We put the team over everything so people recognize that. And everyone is important for that team chemistry and for that life, that spirit of the team. But again, we all are not treating everyone the same when you have a superstar player and a guy who is, not really playing as much. I think the key is you respect everyone on your team, right? But you don't necessarily don't treat them the same way. Okay. So for me, I think the big point is the relationship you establish with everyone. You demonstrate that you care about everyone, you value everyone, you keep the team first over everything. And I think that there's no real concern if you treat the star player not blatantly different, but a little bit different. I think it's natural from the rest of the team.
Awesome. And what are a few of your non-negotiables that you have, and do they differ a little bit between your coaching in Germany and your work in the national team in Poland?
Well, non-negotiables for me, again, I think that goes a lot to our minimum standards. I think the basic thing you look at, work hard, be coachable, be a good teammate. I think anything that is outside of positive for our team, and again, to answer your question, it would be consistent for both, right? It's the same situation for both. But again, I am really big on team, and I'm really big on team first. So if you're doing something that is against the team, that is really a big no-go for me, right? I'm a really big, I put my heart into the team. I want the players to put their heart into the team. And if you're doing something individually, selfishly against the team, we're going to have a conversation about that for sure.
Yes, sir. And then we've had quite a few people just basically saying thank you and telling you that's great stuff. And then at the back end of that, in 3 or 4 of them, it's just, Coach, can we get an email or a way to contact to reach out?
Yes. Let me move to the next one here. Let me see. Oh, only got thank you on here. So yes, the best way to reach me is probably through email, which would be MikeT_15@hotmail.com.
Awesome. And we can work on sharing that as well on our basketball embassy page. I think Coach Dial is on here wanting to be able to be able to send you out here. So I'm gonna shut up again and let you guys, let 2 basketball minds talk. So
Okay, I see him now. Hello, Coach Dial. How are you?
I'm doing well, Coach. I don't have anything. I just wanted to. I've really enjoyed this. I've been watching and listening, and just wanted to express, on behalf of our nonprofit organization, our gratitude for you taking the time and sharing and and also, Coach, just being sort of a consummate professional in this space. I mean, I think it's important to not only for us to get ourselves out there, but it's when we have a chance to platform somebody like you that's done what you've done on different continents. It's really meaningful, and I just wanted to make sure that I expressed that.
I appreciate it. I'm really thankful. Layson asked me earlier about the first clinic, and when he thought about this one that you guys are putting together, I really appreciate it. I'm really happy to share. Family time has been the best thing about the situation, the circumstances now. But the second best thing for me has been these clinics. It's a way to listen to people, see people, keep yourself thinking positively, productively, trying to get better. So the platform that you guys have created, I'm really thankful to be a part of. And I mean, hopefully it can be, one thing positive for somebody somewhere, and then I'm happy.
Absolutely, Coach. It is for sure. There's no question. We've already gotten some private texts and messages. So you got a lot of people really, really appreciative of what you've shared. And then, again, we'll let you jump off here, Coach. We know you're busy. But for us, especially knowing the dynamics that you've had to traverse, being in a place like Poland, we've spent, Dustin and I both have spent a lot of time in the Balkans. I've spent a lot of time in the Baltic states. So that area of the world, I was in Belarus a ton this last summer on the border of Poland and some of those areas. And when you see the different cultural variables and dynamics and the really stern blue collar, work ethic of the kids, of the coaches, it's an interesting set of variables to sort of circumnavigate. You've done it really, really well. So I'm hoping one of these days I can buy you a coffee or a beer or something and pick your brain on some of those things.
Anytime, but I'll tell you what, this is one of the things that makes this whole run in China so special to me is these Polish guys are just the things that they go through, the things that they've been through. You talk about the relationships that have been built over 7 years. Like, I love these guys, and I'm so proud of where they've come from, what they've done. And it's just a great story, and it's wonderful that you've had some experience in that region of the world. Great people out there, and there's just a toughness to them, and I'm thankful we were able to translate a little of that onto the court. At the last
Awesome. It's awesome, Coach. Hey, thanks so much again.
Thank you, guys. See you later.
Take care.
All right.